USFL Week 4 kicks off this weekend. Let's break down these 4 games, find our opportunities, see how we're going to make money. Week 3 was an absolute shit show. I got beat over the head. But new slate, new opportunities. Action kicks off Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern. We have the Philadelphia Stars against the Michigan Panthers. Now, this line opened up a pick'em. For some reason, money's coming in on Michigan now. It's Philadelphia +1. You're over under one of the lowest of the week at 36 points. Now, we got to track injuries here. We saw last week how injuries made such a big difference. First of all, with Philadelphia, they lost last week. The quarterback Brian Scott, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the USFL, got hurt. He left at the first quarter. He had the team up 7-0. Case Cooks came in, the backup. He actually did pretty well. 13 of 20, 146 yards and a touchdown. Tight end Bug Howard had a hell of a day. 4 balls, 78 yards and a score. As far as the Michigan side of things, they did beat the Pittsburgh Maulers last week, so now they are not defeated anymore. They have the first win. Both of these teams 1 and 2 currently in the standings. Michigan won their game 16-0. Once again, this team is just defense running the ball. Paxton Lynch came in and started that game for some reason. He actually ran the ball good, had a rushing touchdown. Listen, they got 2 touchdowns. Now, one other thing with this league here, we're going to continue to keep gambling on this league. We got to take these, as learning lessons, if you will. First of all, the kicking is awful. It's atrocious. And the head coaching hasn't been much better. Now, at least with Jeff Fisher, he knows that his kicker can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So he doesn't even go for kicks. It's always 2-point conversions, and they're only going to punt. They're never going to have a field goal, or they're going to go for it on 4th and long. So that's something at least we can hang our hat on here with Jeff Fisher, as opposed to the Pittsburgh coach. We'll get to him later. Lance Lenoir for this Michigan team, he was once again really their only real playmaker out there. Michigan won that game against Pittsburgh with 72 passing yards, and they won 16-0. Lance Lenoir Jr. had 41 of those. I mean, that's a hell of a stat there. They won a game having only 72 passing yards. Very interesting. Panthers defense, obviously, great, and they're only getting better. Week 1, they gave up 17 points. Week 2, they gave up 10 points. And now last week, they pitched a shutout, gave out 0 points. We're going to have to see who the quarterback is for the Philadelphia Stars here, if Brian Scott can play or not. We're not getting injury reports. We're not getting updates. There's no Adam Schefter covering this league. There's no Ian Rappaport. We're not getting tweets out about, inside information if people are starting a game or not. Once again, with Pittsburgh, we'll get back to that as well. So, you get you follow these teams, you get a practice report on Wednesday, and then a practice report basically the day before the game, and that's it to know if the guys are going to go or not. I will say Brian Scott's injury did not look good. It looked like it was a no-contact knee injury, and we all know what those are, so that did not look good. Case Cooks, he played well. The pick is the Philadelphia Stars. I don't like this Michigan team at all. Paxton Lynch left that game as well. I mean, if they're going to continue just to run the ball with him, maybe they could have some success. The pick is Philadelphia, but that's only if Brian Scott will be suiting up and playing in this game. So we'll have to track that. And let's move on to the next game. The next game on the slate will kick off Saturday at 2:30 as we have the New Jersey Generals taking on the Pittsburgh Maulers. We'll start with the Generals here, coming off a win against Philadelphia. DeAndre Johnson once again had a hell of a day. 6 of 8, 130 yards through the air, 94 rushing yards and a touchdown. He's outplaying Luis Perez, who's kind of like their passing quarterback. Perez went 8 of 15 for 75 yards. Not bad. Their running back, Trey Williams, had a hell of a day. 110 rushing yards and caught 4 balls for 44 yards. Darius Victor also had 13 toes for 51 yards and 2 TDs. The New Jersey Generals ran for over 250 yards on the ground. That's one heck of a rushing team. As far as Pittsburgh, this team's dead to me. Their coach is an absolute buffoon. Their kicker is awful, and they can't get much together on offense. Now, they have Josh Love coming into the game to start the game against Michigan last week, and he plays 2 series, and then they put in Kyle Laletto. You're not even giving the guy a chance to get into rhythm here, pulling him after 2 series. And their coach is so bad. He just keeps sending out this kicker. This kicker's missing extra points. He's missing field goals. He's missing everything. Anything he attempts, he is missing. And the head coach is trotting him out there for a 57-yard attempt that he misses. And then, down 16 points in the third quarter with like 8 minutes to go, he trots him out for a 59-yard kick. Everybody knew he was missing that. Poor kid, he goes out there, has no shot of making this kick. Of course, sails wide right, not even close. There's nothing good about this Pittsburgh team right now. The league-leading wide receiver, Bailey Gaither, was ruled out at kickoff due to an illness. Once again, this brings me back to no one's covering this league. We're not getting updates for that kind of stuff, about people being out of the game before placing a wager. We're not trying to make excuses here. We're just, if we're going to continue to gamble on this league, these are things, and we will, these are things that we're going to have to, just take into consideration making those bets. Once again, if you're new here, this is Burgundy Bets. We gamble on football and we cash tickets. Go ahead, do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm watching all these USFL games, so you don't have to. And believe me, it gets pretty rough at times. That alone should throw a like on the channel, right? London for Pittsburgh, he was really their only bright spot. 68 yards on the ground, ran really well. Powerful runner. Their defense is not good. Pittsburgh's defense is giving up over 23 points a game. The Generals are 9-point favorites in this game, and I agree. Over-under is 35 points. The pick is the Generals. Do you want to lay the 9? No. Will you? Yes, because we're not picking Pittsburgh. Let's move on to the next game. Your nightcap for Saturday is at 7 o'clock. It's the Tampa Bay Bandits and the Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham is 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 40.5. Now, back to coaching. The Tampa Bay Bandits did win on a last-second field goal. It should have been a walk-off field goal. But Todd Haley, who coached in the National Football League and was a head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs for 5 seasons, Tampa Bay's going down to kick the field goal to try to win the game. There's like 14 seconds left. And Todd Haley and that team, they call a timeout rather than letting the clock wind down to, say, 3 seconds and then kick the field goal. Anybody who watches football knows you do that so the other team doesn't have an opportunity. They did not do that. Questionable coaching, but we'll move on to the good parts for Tampa Bay. Jordan Ta'amu had his best game so far of the young season, throwing for over 250 yards. It's his first game this year where he's had over 200 yards. And he did have that game-winning drive. They were down 2 scores. He gets it within a 1 score, and then he rallies the team down the field to put him in position for that game-winning field goal. Tampa Bay Bandits kicker is the best kicker in the league. He's the only kicker in the league that hasn't missed a kick yet. Guy's got ice running through his veins. Derek Dillon went off for Tampa Bay. He caught 6 balls, 124 yards, and a touchdown. Ta'amu really spread the ball around. He wasn't just looking at one guy. It was really nice to see. As far as the Birmingham Stallions side of things, they're coming off that win against New Orleans. I was on New Orleans. We'll get to them later, though. Jamar Smith, another good game. He had nearly 200 yards of passing, 2 touchdowns, 59 yards on the ground rushing. Vic Bolden Jr. is just getting peppered with targets. He had 6 balls, 7 yards, and a touchdown. And Jamar Smith is just looking his way. He threw the ball 13 times to him last week. He threw the ball 12 times to him the week before. Birmingham Stallions' rushing game was not good. It was actually Jamar Smith that led the team in rushing. So that's something they're going to have to get cleaned up. As far as a pick on this game, you probably have to lean the Stallions so far. They're the only team that hasn't lost. But if you want to go with the 3.5 points in Tampa Bay, I wouldn't mind that either, especially seeing Jordan Ta'amu playing good and, really getting his act together for a starting quarterback that so many people had high hopes on him coming into this league this year. So we'll have to see what goes on there. The pick for me is Birmingham. Once again, official plays are on Twitter. Go ahead. My timestamps and Twitter follow handle is in the ticker below. If you wanted to go with the Bandits, like I said, plus a 3.5, I'm not mad at you. As far as a total in this game, I'd have to lean over the 40.5, but both these teams can score. Moving on. And the final game to wrap up the Week 4 slate will be Sunday at 3 o'clock as we have the Houston Gamblers taking on the New Orleans Breakers. Breakers are 4.5, 5-point favorites, depending what book you have, with a over-under of 41.5. Now we'll start with New Orleans here. New Orleans last week against Tampa Bay coming in with that loss. Injuries are catching up with this New Orleans team. It's clear to see. If you looked at their Wednesday practice report, was peppered with guys that were hurt. They did not have TJ Logan. In my opinion, he's probably the most versatile and best running back in the league. They really missed him in that game against Tampa Bay. Kyle Sloter, he still played well. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had to throw the ball 47 times. Lots of wide receivers drops from this team. He was not getting all the help in the world. Johnny Dixon had a great day. He caught 7 of his balls, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns on 10 targets. The injuries, I think, just really caught up to New Orleans last week. We'll have to see what practice reports are and how the team's going to be coming into this game against the Houston Gamblers. The Gamblers, on the other side of things, I buried Clayton Thorson on the last week video, and of course, he had a hell of a game. It was his best game so far of the year, where he actually looked like a competent quarterback. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was pushing the ball down the field. He was putting in tight windows. Really, Clayton Thorson had a good day for himself. It is actually the first time he's had more than 100 yards passing, so you can see why we were down on him. But 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, good for him. Their standout wide receiver, Isaiah Zubert, once again catches another touchdown. He went 3 for 73 and a touchdown. Isaiah Zubert's now caught a touchdown in every game so far this year. Running back Mark Thompson continues to lead the league in rushing, and he is just a savage. He keeps putting in big days. 24 totes, 147 yards, and a touchdown for Mark. We know what Houston wants to do. They want to run the ball, and they want to play defense. Now, they did have to air it out with Clayton Thorson, and he did deliver. Picking this, listen, I like New Orleans. I've liked New Orleans since the beginning. I want to make sure, they get a little bit healthier here. If this team is healthy, I will take New Orleans. I will lay the 4.5, 5 points, whatever it ends up being. I think Kyle Sloter is, arm's length above Clayton Thorson, and New Orleans has a good defense. This could be a lower scoring game because we know Houston wants to play good defense and run the ball. New Orleans is going to have to contain Mark Thompson, and I think they can. So the pick here for me is New Orleans. I would lay the 4.5. I do condone that. Let's make sure this team is healthy, though. Once again, picks, official plays will be posted on Twitter. You can follow me there. If you don't want to do the legwork to see who's actually going to be in and out of these games, that's an easy way for you to do it. And that is the USFL Week 4 slate. I went a little bit of a rant there on a couple of things that happened last week because it was just terrible coaching. Special teams plays were bad. It was some bad football last week. Hopefully we get a better product on the field here for Week 4. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Give me a reason to keep doing this. I love y'all. Let's cash some tickets. Let's make some money. And let's enjoy this football while we have it. 4 more weeks. Then we got nothing, and then we'll have the NFL, and that can't come soon enough. I love y'all. Appreciate it. Let's get paid.